Hello, my name is Jim Jones. You probably know my name from an event just called Jonestown. Now, let me tell you the true story. It was the 60s. People had lost their old gurus that wanted people to be centered and harmless. And into this very profitable market, I, with the help of my wife, entered. Now, you might wonder, how did I do that? It was rather easy. I had the right connections. There were so many people without faith in old institutions like Christianity. All they really needed was an update to the times we lived in. I thought, let's make it more fun, inclusive for everyone, no matter the color of their skin, religion, anything. A place where all could come together and see me. And I had loads to say. I wasn't like other preachers, you see. I was different. I talked about social equality, equal rights for everyone. Faith is a connection, not a problem, to get along with others. I figured we all want to believe in the inherent goodness and love in others. And I had my plan to make this work in my favor. First, you have to understand the early 70s were different. There was a huge gap in people's lives. The Vietnam War was just happening, and people wanted to turn to faith. But the problem was, the government had made such a big case with Manson and all those things that people had lost trust in anything that has to do with the government. And that's where I come in. I didn't really found a religion or made up something new to believe in. No. I just took all the beliefs that were already out there and made them suit my ideas. Of course, I couldn't have done it on my own, so I was very grateful to get help from high-status people. The mayor of San Francisco, the zoning department, I was in on it. I mean, they seemed to just want to help with my ideas. But as it turned out, it wasn't all I thought it would be. They made me sign several papers, gave me new instructions, and also appointed a few people, mostly female, to keep me in check to reach their own agenda. I am sure you have heard the wildest tales about my beloved Jonestown, and none of them are true. Yes, I wanted to make it happen, a commune of like-minded people supporting each other and serving God. And why not? But what really happened was much different than I thought. Whatever you may have read or heard about me, just let me tell my side of the story. With this substantial financial and workforce help, there were some other things I had to abide by. I had to become more tyrannical, more deceiving, more like the mad leader they wanted to portray me as. So I did just that. You might think now, oh, this could never happen to me, but you would be wrong. Can you even imagine thousands of people thinking you to be Christ himself? I couldn't. And believe me, I was overwhelmed. The power to just say what you want and people following it, it was just insane. And when newspapers started to catch on to what my religious movement was actually about, which was more communism, less belief in the good in everyone, they started to ask questions. So it was arranged for me to get all the followers I could convince to follow me to northwestern Guyana, where I was set up by certain agencies that usually consist of 3 letters. I had no idea what was to come next. But honestly, who wouldn't want hundreds of people to follow each and every word that one says? I liked it. I think everyone on earth would. The catch was, I slowly realized what the whole thing was about. It wasn't about me deluding some people to get their savings and make them move to another continent. I mean, what would be the use in that, really? But what the plan really was to take as many African-American people on, usually elderly women, that were mostly widowed and had no families, simply to get them to sell their houses and follow me to another part of the world where I would seem to be in total control. But that wasn't all. They also wanted that all the people I had convinced of my beliefs would be making headline. You know, the New Age movement was very scary for governments because they lost out on taxes, upkeep for houses, and even food sales. Since we all lived together and shared our resources, they had to put a stop to it. And what, you might ask, is the best way to stop such a cultural revolution? I will tell you. Just like it happened in the 60s with Manson, they wanted a new scapegoat. They needed to show people how dangerous beliefs can be. And what better way to show them than to fake a mass suicide? When I first heard of this plan, I was just speechless. It seemed so silly and bizarre, I couldn't imagine anybody falling for it. But they assured me that it would make a splash. And if it wouldn't, I would still be in command of hundreds of people stuck here with me in the jungle of Guyana. The power of being listened to, being celebrated, being worshipped, it was just intoxicating. To be honest, I never thought they would actually go through with the whole silly story. But when I found out they actually meant it, let me tell you, it was a hard time, knowing that I condemned those trusting, mild-mannered people to what you now believe to be the largest group suicide in history. But of course it wasn't. Where would you even get so many people to actually participate in such a hoax? I dare anyone to look through the numerous pictures and audio recordings made in Jonestown and tell me they sound believable. Don't get me wrong, I think I played the crazed preacher rather well, but I am not an actor. All I am is a trained operative that was supposed to deliver this hoax to the world. And man, did I ever. The whole idea, people that signed up for love and peace like the hippies had, you really think they would stand in line to be poisoned? Come on. It was elaborate, I admit that, but believable, no. Even when you look at those highly publicized photos from the 70s of all the bodies lying around. Didn't you ever notice something strange? They are all lined up and wear clean clothes and are arm in arm. If you just look up the basics of cyanide and how it works, what the side effects are, what it actually does to the human body, you would know that it is a very strong poison, and it is not likely for someone to actually lie down as seen on those pictures. Strangely enough, they're always face down even, and then die in loving embrace. I don't want to get into the particulars, but just to say, a cyanide poisoning looks very different than you were led to believe. From this Hotel at Jonestown death tapes, which you can listen to on several websites for free, it should be obvious that this is not possible. The tape also conveniently stopped when I am preaching to a now perished congregation. So who turned off the tape? Who found it? Why was it made in the first place? And after everyone died, I allegedly had myself shot by someone else. Who was even left? And where is that person now? And why is the shot not on that audio tape? Are those not really important questions? I think you can see for yourself why this was staged the way it was. They needed people to adhere to the laws of society, not make their own society. They needed workers, not seekers. They needed stupid, vapid minds to make them believe whatever they tell you. And it worked perfectly. After Jonestown, nobody would ever revive the commune life. Nobody would follow the hippie teachings of freedom of the mind and independence. No. Now they were afraid of leaders as evil as me. I admit I wasn't very suited for this performance, and I almost couldn't do it. So I started taking heavy tranquilizers to get through this. And I was so glad when it was finally over with. To finish, let me say, nobody died in Jonestown. Nobody drank some grape-flavored drink laced with cyanide out of some rusty bucket. They were all hired actors. Yes, you can believe me, or go on thinking this all makes sense. But think about it. Why would they constantly feel the need to shove documentaries about it down your throat? And how come the so-called survivors are growing with each documentary? The real legacy of Jonestown was to be something else. It is to this day that you should follow the state's doctrines and never question authority, behave the way they want it, shut up and do your work. If I would have seen the consequences of this event, I wouldn't have been able to do it. But what's done is done. I still want to say I am sorry. I am sorry for the lasting consequences, the restrictions that you all have to live with now, and the choice that was taken from you to believe in whatever you want. I did that, and there is no way I could ever make up for it. But I can give you a strong warning. Don't believe whatever you are told, and don't ever give up your own beliefs and ethics for no man, no woman, and most of all, no government. I wish you all the best, Jim.